What if a single company could control the very food you eat, the water you drink, and the air you breathe? For decades, one corporate titan did exactly that, leaving a trail of environmental devastation, ruined lives, and toxic secrets in its wake. This is the story of Monsanto, a name that became so synonymous with controversy that it was frequently labeled the most evil corporation on Earth. Long before it was bought out and its name was erased from corporate history, this company engineered some of the most dangerous chemicals known to science, fundamentally altered the global food supply, and waged legal warfare against the very farmers who fed the world. The stakes were nothing less than the future of human health and the planet itself. To understand how one company gained this terrifying level of power, we have to look back at the toxic legacy that started it all, a history built not on agriculture, but on industrial warfare and chemical poisoning. Monsanto didn't start out as a seed company. Founded at the dawn of the 20th century, it began as a chemical manufacturer. Its first major product was saccharin, an artificial sweetener, but it quickly expanded into industrial chemicals that would shape the modern world in horrific ways. By the mid-20th century, the company was a leading producer of polychlorinated biphenyls, commonly known as PCBs. These industrial compounds were used in everything from electrical equipment to paints and plastics. They were highly effective, but they carried a dark secret. Inside the company, internal memos revealed that executives knew as early as the 1930s that PCBs were highly toxic, causing severe skin diseases and systemic health issues in workers. Yet for decades, production continued, and millions of pounds of PCBs were dumped into waterways and landfills across America. Entire communities were poisoned, unaware that the sludge in their rivers was a persistent organic pollutant that would remain in the environment and the human body for generations. But the true horrors of the chemical era were realized during the Vietnam War. Monsanto became one of the primary manufacturers of Agent Orange, a powerful tactical herbicide used by the United States military to defoliate dense jungle canopies and destroy enemy crops. The chemical was rushed through production, resulting in a product heavily contaminated with dioxin, one of the most lethal and carcinogenic compounds ever created. The devastation was catastrophic. Millions of Vietnamese citizens were exposed, leading to horrific birth defects, severe neurological disorders, and soaring cancer rates that persist to this day. Thousands of American military veterans who handled the chemical returned home only to suffer from rare cancers and debilitating illnesses, passing the toxic legacy down to their children. While the company maintained it was merely fulfilling a military contract, internal documents later suggested they were well aware of the deadly dioxin contamination during manufacturing, yet chose to prioritize production speed over human life. As the 20th century drew to a close, public outrage and mounting lawsuits forced a shift away from traditional industrial chemicals. The company needed a rebrand, a way to position itself as a savior of humanity rather than its destroyer. They found their answer in biotechnology, pioneering the field of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. By splicing foreign genes into agricultural crops, they created plants that could withstand harsh conditions and pests. But the real masterstroke was the creation of Roundup-ready crops. These were seeds genetically engineered to resist the company's own flagship weed killer, Roundup. The pitch to farmers was irresistible. Spray your entire field with this powerful herbicide, and every weed will die, but your corn, soy, and cotton will thrive. It promised unprecedented efficiency and revolutionized global farming, turning the corporation into an agricultural empire that controlled the majority of the soybean and corn crops in the United States. However, this agricultural revolution came with a heavy price, trapping farmers in a cycle of corporate dependency. The company didn't just sell seeds, it patented them. When farmers purchased genetically modified seeds, they were forced to sign strict technology agreements that explicitly forbade them from saving seeds from their harvest to plant the following year. This flipped centuries of traditional farming practices on its head. Every single year, farmers had to return to the company to buy new, expensive seeds and the specific chemicals required to grow them. To enforce these patents, the corporation established a notorious network of private investigators and informants. They aggressively sued hundreds of farmers whose fields had been accidentally contaminated by GMO pollen blowing in from neighboring farms. These small, independent family farms were suddenly facing multi-billion-dollar legal teams, forcing many into bankruptcy or out of business entirely. The message was clear. No one was allowed to defy the corporate monopoly on food. As Roundup-ready crops took over global agriculture, the use of the companion weed killer, glyphosate, skyrocketed. Billions of pounds of the chemical were sprayed onto fields worldwide, washing into the soil, rivers, and ultimately into the food supply itself. For decades, the public was assured that glyphosate was perfectly safe, safer than table salt, according to some marketing campaigns. But independent scientists began to notice disturbing trends. Studies increasingly linked heavy exposure to glyphosate with severe health risks, most notably non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a cancer of the lymphatic system. The tension reached a boiling point when the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer classified glyphosate as probably carcinogenic to humans. This sparked global panic and unleashed a tidal wave of litigation from groundskeepers, farmers, and ordinary homeowners who claimed their cancers were a direct result of using the weed killer. The subsequent legal battles pulled back the curtain on a massive corporate cover-up. Court documents unsealed during the litigation revealed a systemic campaign to manipulate science and deceive the public. Internal emails showed that the company had ghostwritten scientific studies, paying independent researchers to put their names on papers that declared glyphosate safe. They had actively worked to suppress and discredit independent scientists whose findings threatened their profits. Furthermore, documents exposed cozy relationships with regulatory officials, suggesting that the corporation had successfully pressured government agencies to stall safety reviews and look the other way. The revelation that public health policies had been influenced by corporate interests triggered international outrage. The image of a benevolent agriculture company feeding the world shattered, exposing a corporate culture that prioritized the protection of a multi-billion-dollar product line over the health of millions of people. The financial and reputational damage finally caught up with the empire. In 2018, German pharmaceutical giant Bayer acquired the company for over $60 billion. It was a move that many financial analysts considered a disastrous mistake. Almost immediately after the acquisition, the first major glyphosate lawsuits went to trial, resulting in massive, multi-million-dollar verdicts in favor of cancer victims. Recognizing that the corporate brand was toxic and universally reviled, Bayer took the unprecedented step of completely dissolving the name. The entity that had dominated the chemical and agricultural industries for over a century vanished from the corporate registry, absorbed into its new parent company. But changing a name does not erase a legacy. Bayer inherited tens of thousands of unresolved lawsuits and billions of dollars in liabilities, a corporate haunting that continues to drain its finances and damage its reputation on the global stage. The history of this corporate giant serves as a chilling cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked corporate monopoly and the commodification of life itself. From PCBs and Agent Orange to patented seeds and ghostwritten science, the pursuit of profit consistently overrode ethical considerations and public safety. While the name is gone, the modified genes still grow in fields across the globe, the chemicals still linger in our soil and water, and the legal battles over the safety of our food supply are far from over. The dark history reminds us that when a single entity gains the power to control the foundational elements of human survival, the consequences are felt for generations. It forces us to ask critical questions about accountability, the integrity of scientific research, and whether the systems designed to protect public health are strong enough to withstand the immense pressure of corporate greed.